Hello, everyone. This is Ernie Reyes Sr. I had an opportunity with my son to be able to star in Surf Ninjas, and I played the character as Zach. So I'm looking forward to be able to spend some time in the martial arts spirit with Justin Harvey.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Justin Harvey Show. Today is a very extraordinary day. It's a dream come true for me, and I would first like to thank my good friend, Gordon Racusa, for helping make this possible. Today we have a star, and personally, one of my favorite stars from one of my favorite films, Surf Ninjas, the one and only Zach, a.k.a. Ernie Reyes Sr. Welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Justin, on behalf of the West Coast World Martial Arts Association and Master Tony Thompson and myself, I'm more than happy to share some martial arts spirits with you today, man. It's a privilege.
It sounds great. So how are you feeling today, spirit-wise, sir?
Well, basically, I just turned 67 years old, and I've been studying martial arts for 48 years, and I feel so fortunate, really, and grateful to keep doing what I love doing most, and that's really training and teaching martial arts. And, I believe, talk about feelings I feel without martial arts, I would just never have ever been who I am as a person today and what I've accomplished and the experiences that you talked a little bit about. And some of those experiences during my lifetime were only dreams, right? And I've had opportunities and be able to be fortunate to have lived those things and have them become reality. And just sharing my thoughts and my philosophies, my beliefs, values, and experiences during my lifetime with you, Justin, really just makes me realize how lucky I've been to have martial arts as my way of life. And martial arts really has empowered my life to make me feel good and achieve my goals, really from the wildest dreams that I talked about before. And I've had the opportunity to travel with our World Action Team all over the United States and the world, right? And right now, Master Thompson and I have 40 martial arts schools across the United States, and we never thought that was going to even be possible. I mean, my first school the rent was like $315 a month, and it was 1,200 square feet. And because we were traveling and doing the demonstrations and trying to promote our demonstration team all over and competing with my team, basically I could even barely make rent at times. So, it's been a great opportunity to go with our West Coast demonstration team that, we've been doing it for over 36 years. And the main thing that makes me happy and makes me feel good is that we've brought smiles and joy to people all over the world. And because of martial arts, it's taught me, self-respect, self-discipline, and to care for others and develop that indomitable spirit to never quit, just like you got.
Absolutely, because, it brings a smile to my face to be, conducting this interview today, because I've wanted to speak with you for many years, sir, because your character, Zaj, was my favorite character in Surf Ninjas.
The Zaj guy. Yeah, it was awesome.
And, you want to go ahead and, talk a little bit about Surf Ninjas, and then we'll talk a little bit about your son, Ernie Reyes Jr. as well.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I could tell you the story of, the journey, basically, and the journey to movie making and television that we had the opportunity to do with my son were really golden years for myself and for him, And they were golden years, but they were really, really challenging years because around 1980, by 1980, I was a Taekwondo national champion in fighting, and I won the bronze medal at the World Championships. And then I had, the West Coast World Martial Arts demonstration team. I developed like 7 national champions, and Ernie Jr. was the youngest child to ever be rated in adults musical forms at that time. So we revolutionized. There's like XMA, and there's all kinds of extreme forms and everything else, but both Grandmaster Reed, they did classical music, right? And my team was more of contemporary pop music, right? So people didn't really accept music even at that time. Then I added the acrobatics and, a little bit more tricking and things like that. And even at the time, I had the #1 forums champion, who was George Chung, and the #1 women's champion, who was Cynthia Rothrock at the time. And she ended up doing some other movies, too. And there was Margie Bedke on there, Belinda Davis, Chucky Curry, the Dayton brothers, and we had just so many different champions that came. So I didn't really want to leave them at that time. And so we met this lady, and she said, are you interested? Well, we were doing a demonstration, as a matter of fact, for, it was, Benny Urquidez was fighting a full contact match in Las Vegas, and they invited us to do a demonstration during the halftime show. So this producer came up to me after the show, and she says, hey, would you like to we're interested in having Ernie Jr. and yourself come and make movies. And at that time, I really didn't want to do it because I didn't want to, I really didn't trust the lady first and foremost. And then the next thing was I didn't even want to leave all of my, the champions and things like that. But after a while, I was thinking about it for a while. And after 6 months, I phoned the lady and I said, hey, well, first of all, we couldn't even find her card. So I told one of my team coordinators, her name was Donna Bernardi, I said, hey, listen, find the lady's card and let me just give her a call, because we pretty much topped off. I was Black Belt Instructor of the Year from Black Belt Hall of Fame, from Black Belt Magazine, and we hit the top of everything. I said, what's going to be the best way to impact and empower more people's lives to understand the benefits of martial arts, just the lifestyle of it, and also the entertainment aspect. I said, we got to take the step. So she was trying to hunt for, the card. She couldn't find it, and then she ended up cleaning out her old closet and things like that, and she found the card again. That was like 6 months later. So I phoned the lady, and I said, hey, are you still interested, in us? And she goes, well, it's a different time, and, Ernie Jr. was a little bit younger. I said, let us just come down and, meet us, and, we'll do an audition for you. So basically we did a demonstration for her, right? And then he had a monologue too, because I had him take acting lessons too on top of that. So her name was Sally Baker, and then she teamed up with somebody, and then we had to do another demonstration for the producers of television that they were getting into, which was Motown. So Motown is famous for records, right? And at that time, they were barely getting into making movies. They were barely getting into making movies and television. So the main executive at that time was Suzanne DePass and Michael Weismarth. So we did a demonstration for them, and they were like so excited. So we had them on our team. So then eventually what they did is they introduced us to Disney. So then we had to go, and we're doing demonstrations every single time. We're doing demonstrations for them. They were really excited, so they wanted to develop something for television at that time. And then what ended up happening was Ernie got another audition, and that's when things were getting developed from Motown and Disney. We got something from it was like The Last Dragon, basically. Yeah, The Last Dragon was happening. So they wrote us in right away. Some of my demonstration team people were there, and myself, and I choreographed a lot of the climax fight scenes and everything. The movie was almost pretty done, but they wrote Ernie in there, you know what I'm saying, as a part. Yeah. So that was one thing, and then he got another part after that, and I can remember the time when he got this part. It was in Red Sonja with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bridget Nielsen.
Classic.
And that was that was a time when we were so grateful, because it was really rough. It's like I said, it's kind of like the journey, and everybody thinks it was an easy time, but it was one of the toughest times in our life to be able to sustain the martial arts schools and trying to kind of have a film and movie industry. With anybody trying to do it, it's almost impossible to really do. You know what I'm saying? So whoever does it, congratulations to them all. And I remember, we got down on our knees, and we said a prayer, and we were so thankful that we felt like we were blessed, to really have an extraordinary opportunity to do this movie. So we were in Italy for 3 months, and then when we got back, we got back, we hooked up with one of the biggest talent agents representing Ernie Jr. and myself, and they were called ICM at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the biggest, agencies, that you could ever have. And Michael Eisner was the head of ABC, and we had to do another demonstration for him. And Michael Katzenberg was the head of executive of Disney. And so we got sidekicks on the air, and it started off really with, first it was our Last Electric Night, and then from the Last Electric Night, it went to sidekicks after that with Gil Gerard, you know what I'm saying? And so, basically to be able to do all of those things was really, it just was all of the core of martial arts, and then really it was kind of like, it was the beginning, it was kind of like, really, to be honest with you, it was like, we lasted a year, right, 23 episodes, but it was a little bit ahead of its time still, because martial arts wasn't really, really accepted. So, we kind of really, really were the first ones besides Gung Fu, right? Gung Fu with Key Luke, right? He was also a part of the Last Electric Night, but it was David Carradine, right? And then the other television was Ernie Jr., to be the first ones to really pioneer, television, and to have your own television series wasn't an easy task to end up doing. I can remember, it was just all of the hard times. It was like the journey. We lived in my aunt's garage, basically, and it was like a one room with a wet restroom attached to it. We had a hot plate, and we had one of those, portable refrigerators, and we lived all in that one room together just to make it all happen, And at times we lived in the bad area of L.A., and you could hear the helicopters going overnight, gunfire that's happening. So, both him and I had to really endure a lot, but those kind of things and those kind of life skills and the challenges that you have has really made me appreciate, more than ever martial arts and what it stands for.
And one thing that I love about Surf Ninjas is not only does it have, wonderful martial arts, but it has, a lot of comedy in it because...
exactly.
What was funny, and I laughed my butt off at this part, your son falls into this cave, where the weapons are, and then he's like, I found water, and you're like, really? And he's like, psych, I mean, and the whole thing. So it was, that was part of the whole thing because they basically brought in Leslie Nielsen, and he was at the top of the world at the time. And then Rob Schneider, the last couple of years. He's really blown up to a whole nother thing. Then there was Tone Loc at the time, who was a heavy rapper, right? Yeah. And so, and New Line Productions brought out. So they, they really put their all on that. But let me just tell you one thing about just making Surf Ninjas. So it's like this, probably all the time experiences that I've had. It's kind of like, even though it's a martial arts core, it became more of the comedy and the acting part of it, which is cool. You did have those elements in there. I choreographed every fight scene, right? And you know how much time we had? We had one take. We had one take that it pretty much had to be perfect because they're going to move on. And that was the challenging part. So I had to have it dialed in. And everybody else on some of the demonstration team guys that were on there, because they were. And it's like saying, hey guys, it's like a demonstration. You got one shot at it. There's not going to be no retakes or whatever. Then when it became to the comedy or acting, if people didn't like it, the higher profile guys, hey, can we do another take? Sure, why not? And they're doing maybe 15 takes. Wow. Over some little thing that wasn't even imagined. And so when it came to the fight scene, the day was going to be over. And so it's all about time and money. So the time that you get to do the fight scenes were going to be very limited. So we're lucky to have pulled off what we did, at that time. Now, did you help your son in the Ninja Turtles 2? Because your son starred in the Ninja Turtles 2 as
Yeah, exactly. So what happened with Ninja Turtles 2 was a friend of mine phoned me, Pat Johnson. I don't know if you know him. He's a real good friend of Chuck Norris, right? They were really basically training partners, and he became a stunt coordinator and head guy. And he goes, hey, would Ernie be interested in doing that? So basically, we got the lead from Pat Johnson. Yeah. And Pat Johnson did the Karate Kid. Yeah. He was the main coordinator of the Karate Kid too. So he ended up doing the first Ninja Turtle one, and then so Ernie was in the first Ninja Turtle one. Then he played the Pizza Boy in the second one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Classic films. I have them all actually.
Yeah. It's been a journey.
So, when did you first get into martial arts? Take us a little through that, your backstory on how you got into martial arts.
I said, I started in 1966, basically, and doing a little bit of it. And from there was my main thing is I played a lot of sports. I was in junior college, and I was trying to get a scholarship playing basketball. And then I hurt my ankle really, really bad, so it just took me out of the season. But I said to myself, because I used to go to health spa and work out and lift weights for, conditioning for the basketball season, whatever. And I used to watch these guys over there, and I said, one of these days when I finish, I'm going to pick up martial arts. That's going to be my thing. So then I got hurt real bad in my junior college year, the last year, and I just said, forget it, whatever. I'm just going to start doing martial arts. So it was probably a blessing in disguise, because from that point on, I really did never, ever have stopped training martial arts every day, And so that's where I met in 1968. I went to San Jose State University, had an opportunity to graduate from there, and that's where I met Tony Thompson, And my first instructor was Moses Garazmende in 1966 in a small agricultural town here called Salinas, California. And it's an agricultural town, really, it's just made for all kinds of agriculture. It was known as the lettuce bowl of the world at the time. But it was an agricultural field kind of thing. And so what ended up happening was I met Tony Thompson at San Jose State, and we met another instructor there. His name was Grandmaster Dan Choi, and he was our instructor. And then from there we competed a lot. Mainly the main reason why I really did martial arts was for the trophies, because I played sports so much all the way up till, like I said, junior college, football, basketball, track, and high school, and junior college and I just enjoyed the competition. But I also I wanted to be a coach, basically. I didn't even know what I wanted to become, in life, right? I just said, I'd like to be a PE coach, that would be a great thing. So I just went to college and majored in business administration, just as a general thing, not really loving it all that much. They're saying, I'll just do that as a general overall thing. And plus, at that time, there weren't too many teaching jobs for physical education teachers at that time. So I said, let me just do something generic, and I'll just go into business administration. So I met my friend, Tony Thompson, and we've been training partners for 46 years. We're still together, and we met our instructor, and again, in 1977, I became a national Taekwondo champion and then bronze medalist at the third World Championships from there.
Yeah. Now, are you on social media so that people can, get a hold of you and read about you, Facebook and Twitter as well?
Not really. Now my kids are, but I'm not. I'm so busy. I am so busy, really, to be honest with you. It's oh man, it's every second of my life I'm doing something. I don't even have a second to really do much of anything, But so I just try to keep everything within our own organization and myself. Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate your time, sir, because, like I said, it's always been a dream of mine to be able to conduct this interview, and please let your son know that I am a big fan of his as well, and I'm actually in the process of trying to get in touch with him so that I can have him on the show as well.
Yeah, I'll let him know. I'll pass the word on to him. Yeah, definitely. So, yes, so I think we're going to pretty much wrap up, right? And I just want to, just basically share my goal. And my goal now is to really just to continue to strive for a mastery in life. It's not just mastery in martial arts, but really mastery in life. And, it's all about giving back to, the martial arts world, and by sharing time with you also. And, again, I'm 67 years old, and really I think the most important thing is to still continue to grow, just like yourself. You're not giving up, right? And you have to continue to grow. And if you strive for mastery, there's no other way than to try to take yourself or level up to the next level. So I've always maintained that white belt mindset. I think that's what really keeps me going. It just seems like I have so much more to learn, even with, the 48 years that I've been studying. I still feel like, I still feel like a beginner at times. And I also have never forgotten the humble beginnings and roots of where I came from my first instructors, and all the way back to my mom and dad. Their names were Valentino and Ernesto Reyes, and they were some of the first Filipino immigrants to ever come to America. And they were earning they were earning 15 to 20 cents an hour. They had 2 or 3 jobs just to make sure that, they were surviving and the family were surviving. And when I evaluate my life and opportunities that I have compared to what they had to go through and overcome, that spirit that we're all talking about to keep going is always with me daily and keeps growing to really want to keep on training and teaching. Because like a lot of people I know, when they become that age, 67, a lot of them are there, but they don't really train or teach anymore, But that's something that I'm never, ever going to stop doing, because I believe martial arts is one of the greatest gifts of life, really to change people's lives for the better, physically, mentally, spiritually. And, like I think we talked earlier before, and I said, I'm kind of busy because, I told you, I said, because you were trying to get a hold of me, and I said, we're in a black belt cycle. So every 6 months, we have 200, 300 people that are testing our association. And the greatest part of it is not just the physical part, because it's a 2-day test. It's after, and the people come up and they give the testimonials, right? And they talk about from young kids, that was like, it's happened a couple of times where young kids, either their parents or their grandma or grandfather passed away within weeks of their taking their black belt test. And for some of those kids to say that, I'm going to take my test. I'm not going to not want to do it because I know they would love my parents or to continue on, and so when you see that kind of impact and when you see the adults come up and they said, hey, you've helped me in so many different ways, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, to overcome barriers in my life, it seems like we've done something right. And the greatest thing is like when you look out there, when I look out there, I see so great a diverse of people, all different colors, races, creeds, nationalities, and they're all coming together, in a peaceful way for once, and it's because of the martial arts way, So,
absolutely.
So, I guess the best way to make sure that, martial arts is one of the greatest gifts of life to develop people physically, mentally, spiritually, and to be able to do that, you've got to be able to teach it. And the benefits and power of people's lives, you must continue really to grow and to live it and to level up. And I'm just so happy that, I'm committed to train until my last breath, and I'd like to just say thank you so much, Justin, for calling. And, I know you've got some physical challenges that you've expressed to me the other day. And I just want to say you've got that warrior spirit, man, and that's the spirit that I was talking about that we're sharing today. It's just not the spirit of just friends, but the spirit to continue on regardless of any challenges that we have in life. And God bless you and wish you all the best, man.
God bless, and anytime that you want to promote anything on the show and get the word out, you're always welcome to come back on the show.
Okay, all the best to you.
All the best to you. Thank you for being on the show.
All right. Bye. Quan Su, dude. Quan Su,
dude. Yes, sir. You wanted to mention one of your students in the show?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Also on the demonstration team and still training with me after 36, 38 years from the time that we started on that first demonstration team was Master Scott Coker, and he was the founder of Strike Force.
Oh, wow. That's pretty big stuff.
Yeah.